What's up, Alphas? It's your boy, Alphas MA, and I'm here with the one, the only legendary Monray. How you feeling today, Monray?
What's up? What's up? Your boy Monray Hudson, aka the long man himself, is in the building. We just talking about a little bit of She-Hulk.
Yeah, we got She-Hulk. Shorter episodes. I want to address something. I want Monte thoughts on this too. I saw a lot of people complaining about Jenn's speech about her anger management. And I want to call you liars because I saw like 100 of them on TikTok all complain about it. Not once. I had to go back twice to make sure I'm not tripping when y'all told me she said it. Not once did she say she had more trauma than the Hulk. There's not one time she ever stated that. She said, I can control my anger because I go through these things. She didn't say, oh, I've been through way more than you have. She did never say that, and it's 100 TikTokers who, and by the way, the first dude who said it that I saw, admitted he ain't watched the show yet. He just saw that clip. So I wanted to address that and call out the people who just made up the anti-woke mob. Monte is getting worse than the woke mob because they just making up things to be mad about.
I mean, that sort of goes along with what they were doing to the show when they were freaking watching it in negative reviews before the first episode was even released. And I'm saying they to whoever was doing it, but the show was literally getting bombed, review bombed. That's what I was. They was literally getting review bombed on like IMDb, I believe. It's like some other sites where they're just negatively putting the show down long before the first episode even aired. It was just like a huge disparity between like the ones and the zeros versus like the 5-star rating. It was wild. So I'm not surprised. And people have a tendency to take or hear things the way that they want to hear them instead of what's actually being said. So it is what it is.
Yeah, because I thought I was tripping. I'm like, she said that? I didn't remember hearing that. And then I went back and watched it, and she never said it. He was like, you got to learn how to control your anger. She's like, I'm good at controlling my anger because I go through this all the time. That's all she said. And they took it like, oh, she said she had more trauma. The Hulk lost his best friend, Tony Stark. I'm like, she never said anything about that, my guy. You just making up you just making up things to be angry about. But that's the first thing I want to go over. But this episode was about Jenn getting a job. I want to go over some things I liked about this episode. I do like that it's humorous. And it's not the Thor humor, because people before the preview was telling me, Monte, that they said this was going to be just like Thor, overtly humorous and all that. This show has light humor. From the guy who said, when he was talking to She-Hulk, and be like, hey, you cheated. I'm finna go, hey, it's a woman. I'm finna go over there and talk to it. Like little slight humorous things that they just randomly did, from the boss telling the girl to send the guy to Minnesota because he hates the cold. Just to be like little funny. It wasn't all right crazy. But those in the review, they're like, oh, Thor, like, if you like Thor, you're gonna like this. If you didn't like Thor, you're not. But I'm like, the humor is not over exaggerated like Thor. It's like little clever, humorous things. Just like sticks there. And some people could say that's even a misogynistic joke. And I'm like, okay, you need a little more of that subtle joking. Because I see people like, if a man said that, they're trying to get men canceled and something like that. I'm just reading what I read on Twitter. It wasn't even that big because most people didn't care. Most people thought it was funny, normal people. But I'm just saying, I saw one person on TikTok get upset because somebody got to get upset about something. Well, how do you feel about the humor in this episode before we get into the show?
I mean, to me, the humor was better than the first episode because the first episode's humor was basically hit or miss to me.
Yes.
Now, is the humor... It's a little better. Like, this time it doesn't seem like they're just overtly trying to make you laugh like they were in the first episode. The first episode was like, look, we just gonna throw these jokes at you, and some finna stick, some not finna stick. This one was just more like, okay, now we're focusing on telling the story, and the humor is more in the background. And it's like, okay, that more I prefer. Like when she went back home with her family, and the family was just like, hey, hey, what's up with, we ain't gonna mention this. Okay, but we're mentioning this though. Hey, I'm working up in, Best Buy or whatever. Oh, cool, employed and there. So, okay, the focus is, she hates going home to the family, but they're throwing some humor in there rather than, okay, we're going to make this humorous first, and then you can get some story out of it. Like, so I appreciate the humor better. It seems like it's coming along. I'm like, okay, it's finding a place in the story rather than, okay, we're just going to thrust this humor at you and it's just been a stick or it's not been a stick. So I'm appreciative of that. It's getting better. Is it amazing? It ain't quite amazing, but it's getting better. Like, it's okay. Okay.
Yeah. Some of it didn't. Like he said, some of it was just like, huh. It wasn't, but first episode, some of it was annoying, but some of this was like, huh. And then you had, like I said, about her coworker saying, I'm going to talk to it. That was funny to me. Chad is the one he's talking about, Chad, the kid who works at Best Buy but don't know anything about electronics. By the way, I know a dude like that. He worked at the one in Flowood. He was a system manager. He knew nothing about electronics.
It's always gotta be a Chad, huh?
Yeah, it was Chad. But overall, the episode starts with Jenn. She shows up at this bar. She goes in, they like, oh, they want the She-Hulk. You hear them yelling, She-Hulk, She-Hulk, She-Hulk. She's like, you got to transform into She-Hulk. So she goes in there, She-Hulk. They celebrate. They have the joke what the guy said. Her boss comes in, tell her he wants to speak to her normal. And we find out in that instance that Hulks, even though in Hulk form, they don't get drunk, but their regular form gets really drunk. So she gets fired, and she gets fired, and then the whole episode revolves around this fire because they feel like she's a sideshow, and that the jury in the case she did in the first episode was a mistrial because she saved their lives. So a lot of people feel like, okay, she's a sideshow. She had the jury on her side. She's a superhero. You can't hire her. It's a sideshow. So she goes to the episode, and we ultimately see they just go through, and she's looking for jobs. She's going through getting fired. They like, we won't hire you. We don't want a sideshow. We don't want superheroes. We don't need this distraction. All those things. And we even see her look up mascot. And she goes back to the bar. She shout out to my guy Pedro. Pedro's a legend. Pedro's so valuable. Everybody need that bartender that you go to when things get bad.
Everybody needs a Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro's so valuable. She goes to Pedro, says she can't have a drink because she's unemployed. The guy who worked in Mr. Holloway, who works in the first episode, comes up to her real quick, tells her, hey, look, we got a superhero division. I want you to be the head of it. She has a job. Pedro, get the drinks. You know my favorite drink. We back on. Shout out to Joe in the chat. He said he loves these shows. They come up. She goes to the job. And the guy said, hey, we don't want Jennifer Walters. We want She-Hulk attorney at law. So do your thing and turn to She-Hulk. Her best friend's in there. She's the paralegal. She come in. She's excited about all this rooms they got and all this stuff and all this stuff. She goes in the office. She finds out they have to talk. She has to be a lawyer for Abomination. Shout out to Joe. He's coming in. She's the lawyer for Abomination. Shout out to Joe, legend. And she comes in and she says a conflict of interest. Of course. And ultimately, he said you take it or you fire. And that's how the show basically goes. And then she meets him. He said he writes haikus. She talks to the Hulk. We find out the Hulk is on the starship. And while she's talking to the Hulk, she's trying to basically tell him she's going to take the job and trying to soothe the Hulk like, yo, I really don't care. The guy sent me a haiku a few years ago. And that's basically essentially how the episode ends when her boss calls after she accepts the job, tell her to turn on TV. And we find the scene from Shang-Chi when Abomination was fighting the fighters up in the room and she was fighting Wong. So now she has to deal with, he had a prison break, even though we know he goes back to the prison, but he has a prison break because Wong needed his partner to do fights in the fight club. So now she has a big trauma, and that's how the show ends, even though they had a post-credit scene where she basically do like men stuff, what men do as like a joke. Like, hey, hang up the TV and hold up the car and stuff like that. So all that stuff. So that's how the show ends. We got a little Easter egg we're going to talk about. Joe, how did you feel about episode 2 of She-Hulk? And then we're going to get Monte.
First of all, I was trying to do like when Peter was watching the family next to him was watching like Operation Dumbo. And then next thing you know, he's in the car with them. That's what the whole comment was. But anyway, it's charming. It's a charming show. I enjoyed it. Nice callback to what's his name? Edmund Norman, whatever his name is, the last Hulk. I thought that was a cool little callback. And yeah, I guess I gotta watch Shang-Chi now. I just been keeping myself from watching it, but I guess that's
one of the better movies.
Shame on you.
I just was like, bro, they ruined it for me. What's that boy name? The white Johnny. What's his name? Johnny something. Remember, he had his own show on Netflix.
Iron Fist.
That did it for me with like the Asian dynamic karate stuff. That's why you don't let Asian.
That's why you don't let white men do Asian type stuff.
I was like, man, I'm not doing Shang-Chi, A, because I never heard of the series, and then B, I'm not doing it because the way they did that boy in that Netflix. So I will have to watch it if that was a callback the Abomination thing. I didn't know that Abomination is. So now this is our first semblance in the sense of a timeline, kind of, and it's showing where she fits. So that was cool. So all in all, they are really heavy on the women's rights and women's struggle thing. They are really heavy on that theme. Like any chance they get, they're gonna be like, remind her that she's a woman in her struggles. But yeah, so overall though, I'm still enjoying it. I mean, 27 minutes is long enough for me. That was a cool sit down and watch, and they are moving along just fine. Like she went from unemployed to employed just like that. So and they fleshed it out kind of in like 3 to 5 minutes. So cool me. Or they broke it up into thirds. Like first 10 minutes was like, yeah, you fired. Then it was like, okay, you employed. All right, now we know where the show is going. So I mean, this is good pacing for a 25-minute show. So with that being said, episode 2, can't wait for episode 3.
Monte, how did you feel about episode 2?
As a whole, it was great. Disney ain't fooling me. I've realized now just off of this that the rest of the episodes are like this, that She-Hulk is another one of these 6-episode series that they are now cutting and clipping off a little extra to make it 9 episodes so that this can string itself along to about mid-October. Like, so they ain't fooling me. Like, it's like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. We got a preview, we got some post-credit scene for fun, and we got some we got some credits and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay, we even got an intro. So it's like, oh, okay, Disney, y'all ain't fooling me. Y'all done clipped and made a few extra stuff to extend this to 9 episodes. Cool though. I understand, because we got a nice little windy break between now and Black Panther. So I understand. But all 9 episodes cool. I'm trying to find the quote unquote deepness of this series right now. I can see a little bit semblance of it. I'm trying to find the deepness of it because a lot of the other series had some deeper meanings and deeper themes. So the thing with the family, with Miss Marvel, naturally, the politics. We'll just say the politics when like Falcon and Winter Soldier, stuff like that. So I'm trying to find the deeper themes that they tend to have in a lot of these shows.
Right now, it's not hitting you in the face.
Huh?
Women's rights isn't hitting you in the face right now. Suffrage,
no, actually, because
episode 1 more so than 2 didn't.
Because what happened in episode 2 could happen to any person who ends up being like a superhero who pops up in a courtroom and everything is like, okay, well, we don't want that because the courtroom is a place of unbiasedness generally. So it's to understand that you being a distraction, it's not necessarily her being a woman, it's just her being a superhero. They haven't focused on the woman part yet. Now, do I expect it? Yes, but they haven't done that, that much as of yet to me. But this time, so I'm cool with that. Plus, it's the first little nod they've given to, the Abomination Hulk and, the early Hulk movies and all that kind of stuff. It's the first little nod they've actually given. Is like, okay, we understand that movie, we treated it as not being canon, but now we got to come back around to it. So, we're gonna accept it now. This is you're a part of us, even though Mark Ruffalo wasn't there. But we're gonna pretend like he was. We're gonna keep going with it, and we're straight. So far it's cool. I'm straight with it. I see how this gonna be like quick. If it's gonna be like this quick, 25 minutes, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm guessing they're gonna set up a few cases for her, and we'll see her in the courtroom and what's gonna actually happen. And eventually we might get introduced to some other characters. But I'm liking that they give us a timeline early. And now it's like you said, okay, we see that you're around the time of Shang-Chi, with this going on right now. So, okay, I'm glad we got some semblance. The other thing I'm going to keep an eye on, besides the fact that Hulk must got like the best cell phone in the world to be able, in the universe, to be able to catch a signal from mid-space before warp drive. So I don't know what cell phone company he with. I need to be with them, but I'm keeping an eye on whatever he doing. Because in the first episode, that ship, would cause them to have the whole accident anyway, because, okay, we must got an important message. And we go from that to, hey, I'm out doing something. Now he owns the ship and they gone. So apparently, some going on that he dealing with that's outside of Earth. And for some reason they chose him. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep an eye on Hulk and what he doing, since apparently they're making him a little something.
We had 2 instances of timelines, which puts the Eternals before Shang-Chi, which is interesting. How to do it in the newspaper? It had 2 Easter eggs in the newspaper. First one is a giant hand came out of the earth. It's on the newspaper she's reading in that article. You can see it says giant hands, giant monster sticking out from earth, which means the Eternals has already happened. And it also means Abomination, we saw it on TV. And the other Easter egg I thought was really dope. What they said, a man with iron claws got in a fight at the bar. And I said, y'all just put Wolverine as an Easter egg, D. I don't know how y'all gonna make this work, but y'all put him as an Easter egg in a random spot that you knew. Because the thing, they had the big focus on I'm finna be a mascot. She's gonna be a mascot. So she was looking for a job to be a mascot, and then she went to a news article, and there it was. Oh, was it? Yeah. Or was that the one on TV? One of them was either that or the TV. I forgot which one it was. But I saw the Easter egg, saw the pictures, and I'm like, okay, I see what y'all doing.
Well, definitely going back to watch that because I don't know how I missed that.
It's a little small writing. They wanted you to focus on the big picture, but it's on small writing on the side. It said man with iron claws getting a fight at a bar. And I'm like, that's a Wolverine thing. 100%. And the other one, like giant mutant monster is coming out of the ocean, which kind of fixes everybody's problem about the MCU. They don't talk about this. You saw it on television, my guy. You saw Abomination fighting Shang-Chi. You saw the mention of a giant monster coming out of the ocean. And you got a hint at Iron Man with an iron claw getting in a fight at Undersea. But this episode was solid. It wasn't nothing spectacular. But it furthered the story and it was interesting. It had like I said, fun little quips and a bunch of little other things. Joe, how did you feel about the humor in this episode? Me and Monte talked about how it was like, it wasn't showy, but it was effective because it wasn't like all Disney MCU crazy, try to over dramatic funny, but it's like little, hey Chad, hey, I heard you got fired. And he's like, dumb cousin, just saying it. Cause I'm like, I have a dumb cousin that would mention you got fired if you was it. I do have a dumb cousin.
So you asking me how I feel about the humor?
Yeah, throughout the episode too, not one.
I was in good spirits the whole time. That show literally had me in like good spirits. I enjoyed watching all of it. It was like I ain't gonna call it a Martin episode, but it gave me the feeling of watching a Martin episode. Like y'all not gonna get too deep on me.
Yeah,
it's just every scene is something. You know what I mean? And I enjoyed it.
What's that, Monte?
Oh,
no,
he finished. I was saying I got one Easter egg nod idea after he finished.
Oh, okay.
And that again, I'm big on this fourth wall breaking thing. I'm enjoying that too. That's like icing on the cake for me.
I also like they like asking fan questions up in this show too. I'm gonna let Monte talk about it. Like they first episode, like, did Captain America ever have sex? And the second episode was the uncle said, hey, does Captain America, like, he shoots his arrow, do somebody pick him up?
Oh yeah, that was like, yes, little stuff like that because that's what a human would do.
Like, does anybody
like, I mean, not human, like if we was living in that world, you would ask a lot of these questions that, like, you know,
he said, who picks them up? He was like, some of them explode, like this. They just keep them. That's a safety hazard. And I'm like, yeah, I do love when you acknowledge that when the fans ask, like, who picks this up? Like, does he just shoot these and they just stay there? Even though she has no clue because she never met him, but it's still funny that, like, oh, you're a superhero like your cousin, like our cousin Bruce. So did he ever tell you? And stuff like that. Monte, what was your other Easter egg that you think that you saw?
His Abomination's little nod that he mentioned twice when he's like, yeah, me and these 7 soul pen pals that I've been talking to that I'm gonna go after I leave here. I was like, that could just be an easy nod to him joining the Dark Avengers. Just saying.
Oh yeah, Dark Avengers, Thunderbolts. I think that'd be the same group, but yeah,
very possible.
That's cool if they just 7 people.
Because who would have enough money to buy him his own private island after he get out of jail, and would want to?
It's true.
I don't know, but a nice little Spanish chick who's been picking up all these little extra people. Just saying, she is an idea. I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm done.
Yeah,
my time.
Yeah, before we get off, we're gonna get off shortly, but I want to talk about how Abomination was spitting from this. You're like, hey, listen, they told me that I had to take out their threat and I'm the best soldier in the world. So I went there and did it. Then we couldn't take them out. So they gave me the super soldier serum and I was like, I'm finna be Captain America. And they put too much in me and I went crazy. And then I go to jail and they put me in jail and be like, hey, and the Hulk is like a superhero and I'm just dude in jail that try to rampage. That's messed up. And I'm like, even Jenn like, he got a point. The government sent him at the Hulk. then injected him. Then he went up crazy because of the government, and then they put me in jail. Like, I got set up, dog. I was just a soldier in the army.
Yeah, what it is.
Yeah, that's some stuff I'm talking about. Like I said, shout out to Pedro, Abomination. We got a lot of Easter eggs. I feel like this show gonna be full of Easter eggs though. So we gotta keep our eyes peeled for everything. I had to watch it twice to make sure I do it. But it's a lot of Easter eggs in these 30 minutes compared to even other shows. Like I said, people they don't mention other things that happen, and then you see it all throughout this show.
From what I'm seeing, and this will be my last point, from what I'm seeing, whereas WandaVision was that good first run show, like that I could watch it that one time, but I'm never gonna go watch it again. I could see myself, maybe throwing on She-Hulk season 1 and just letting it roll in the background while I take a nap. You know what I'm saying? I can see myself watching some of these episodes again.
Yeah. I think we went over everything. As Joe said, I feel like this show is very rewatchable. The comedy kind of.
I'm giving it rewatchability. Easy.
And most of the shows, outside of Loki, I don't see myself. And Loki is only because of that scene with old Loki. I like this dude a boss. But
Loki for me is I gotta go back to see if I understood what the hell he said. Like a lot of him is, and then I would definitely go back and watch what's his name, Jonathan Majors. Watch his performance again because that was just a hell of a performance. Like I've never sat there and watched Loki just shut the fuck up and let somebody else be a convoluted character.
So let somebody else be convoluted with your vantage.
Yeah, let somebody else be like you really don't know what to do. So yeah, that was a great performance for sure.
And that's all we got on this episode. It was a small, like I said, these 25 episodes, we ain't gonna be on it long. I will be back tonight, so hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I got reps tonight, so I'm gonna be doing that. So I got a busy day today, but we will be back, and I appreciate everybody for watching and all the other things. Tell us how you felt about the show. Tell us your favorite part. How did you feel about the humor? How did you feel about Abomination? Because I saw people saying he was a hippie or something. I'm like, this how a dude who want to prove his innocence would act. Y'all overhyped a lot. Just like y'all overhyped the thing last week that we talked about at the beginning of the episode where y'all talked about, she being woke by saying she had more problems than the Hulk. She never said that. But again, looking for little demons that you've never seen. But really solid show. It ain't the craziest thing I've ever seen, but I enjoyed it. I feel like I didn't waste my 30 minutes. That's all I can do. Mate, where can they find you?
Everywhere say Monterey Hudson, whether it be here overall 99, Blur Cartel, Buzz, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and especially TikTok. Y'all already know.
TikTok blowing up. Uniqo, where can they find you?
UniqoWilliams.com will bring you to all the places. It's the convergence. So just go to UniqoWilliams.com and I'll take you to it. If you want to see me on doing anything, click right there, man. Shout out to the people that have been asking, man, Joe, are you still doing a podcast? And I think that's interesting because I'm like, I do a show damn near every day in some form or fashion. So, man, we need y'all to like and subscribe and do that shit because y'all shouldn't be asking me no dumbass questions.
I felt that. And you can find me at my link tree below. Zelma in the link tree. Just click that link and take you to books, podcasts, merch, all those things that I know you're interested in. So go check your boy out. We doing our thing. I feel like we becoming the best in the world. I feel like we becoming the best at this. So you better hit that like and subscribe because you don't want to be late. You want us to know your name when we see it in the chat. You want to be that dude, right? You want that closest with us, right?
Oh, and one more thing. Tonight on Do You Hear Me with Uniqo Williams, we will be live. It won't be on this channel. It'll be on this channel, but not live. But it'll be on Facebook and probably somewhere else. We are having a quick Laker episode. So we just go talk about, because we ain't had shit to talk about with the Lakers. So we back in Laker gear. So make sure y'all tune into that as soon as we are done recording what we do today. UniqoWilliams.com. That's where you can find my live Facebook. And you can watch me rage over Little Nightmares and the terrible mechanics.
I saw you raging. I was driving, so I couldn't really talk. But so do all that. I appreciate y'all. See y'all next week. See y'all next Thursday, same time, 7 o'clock. Peace.